Today, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. Usually, I'd stick to one puzzle per video, but over last year I solved quite a few Ravensburger puzzles. And because they're so remarkably consistent, delivering dependably well-cut, high-quality puzzles, once you've reviewed one, there's not a lot more you can say aside from critiquing the choice of image. So today, we're going to have a little clear out and run through 8 rapid-fire Ravensburger reviews, all from their 1,000 piece range. Let's get started. See, I told you they'd be rapid-fire. Look at me go! So this one is from their Puzzle Highlights Beautiful Skylines range. Looking at the back of the box, you can see dramatic views of London, Paris, New York, San Francisco, Rome, and this one of Cape Town, South Africa, which I can't help but see as a little more basic. The bright clear afternoon sun doesn't give the image as much character as the others in the range, and the high aerial angle of this photograph really flattens both the man-made structures and Table Mountain, doing a disservice to the skyline of Cape Town it is meant to be highlighting. It is a good image to puzzle through though, split into even portions of mountain, city, field, ocean and sky. I thought the sky was going to be a real struggle point, but it does have a reasonable gradient across it, so it wasn't too bad, taking me about 50 minutes. I actually think I struggled more with the city pieces, where, aside from the Cape Town Stadium, all of the details are too small to really leap out of each piece. But overall, I enjoyed solving this puzzle, even if I do consider the image a little standard. I'm giving it 3 out of 5. Next up, we have Colourful Alphabet, a montage of 52 photographs taken of signs in an urban area, with 26 of the photographs representing a letter of the alphabet, and each one followed by another photograph of something starting with that letter. Or at least, that was the idea. The image of something starting with a P is a parking sign which has a letter P on it. The something starting with an R does include a letter R, and the something starting with an X is just an X. The choice for E strikes me as a bit unusual too, being the elephant symbol of the United States Republican Party, but with 2 trunks? Maybe I'm ignorant of something here, but it just seems like they've edited it to avoid infringing on the real symbol, and it's kind of odd for a Ravensburger product to include something so explicitly political. Those choices aside, the image as a whole still doesn't look that great, with the montage of images clearly chosen to fit the gimmick first and to work as a cohesive image second, if that was a consideration at all. I did enjoy being able to pull out the distinct pieces to form 52 little mini-puzzles, which allowed me to absolutely speed through this puzzle. So, fun to solve, ugly to look at, 3 out of 5. So I have to come clean about something for this next review. When I was recording the time-lapse for this one, I forgot to change my phone to the reverse camera and ended up recording a time-lapse of my ceiling. Fortunately, that's the type of mistake you only make once, and I made it on what is really a fairly uninteresting puzzle. I mean, don't get me wrong, this photograph taken here in Aarhus, Denmark is lovely, showing a row of colourful terraced housing in a beautiful cobblestone street. It's just, colourful terraced housing is quite common fodder for puzzles. For good reason, because they combine geometric details with strong colour separation, plus a little bit of sky and stone texture to cover all bases. But I've done puzzles like this before. I will do puzzles like this again. This was a good one, but it doesn't stand out in my memory, so I can only give it a 3 out of 5. Up next, we have Cruella de Vil from the Disney Villainous range, a spin-off from a Ravensburger board game series of the same name. Each of these features a collage image representing a Disney or Disney-acquired villain. They all have this dark and moody tone, usually with a distinct highlight colour. This aesthetic is well suited for a grim villain like the Horned King, but it doesn't really fit the vibe of Disney's more camp and colourful characters like Cruella, Ursula, Yzma, Prince John. Okay, it doesn't really work for most of them in my opinion. And the dark tones also make for tougher puzzling, washing out colours and details of the image, which look even darker when printed on the pieces than it does on the box. The stills taken from the film have also been recoloured to fit the scheme, so lose the distinct modernist look that I find one of the main appeals of the original film. But I do like the suggestion of this image that after the events of the film, Cruella picked herself out of that ditch, stomped back to Hell Hole, and set up a conspiracy board to pin down exactly what Sergeant Tibbs' role was in all of it. All while her friend's husband's diss track about her is rocketing up the charts to be the Christmas #1. One other quibble I have with this image. What is this? Is it meant to be a fashion award? Should I recognise it from the film? For something that takes up quite a large portion of the image, I really wish I had a clue what it was. So I'm not the biggest fan of this image, but I think the details included will still please fans of the film. I'll give this one a 3 out of 5. And now we're spending an evening in Paris. Ravensburger seemed to put out quite a few images similar to this. In fact, I have another one sitting in my to-do pile right now. But this one immediately drew my eye, with its rich blend of cool and warm tones, evoking the fantasy of a Parisian sunset, if not the reality. My favourite part is where the blue cityscape meets the yellow horizon in the centre here, so it's a little disappointing that this is such a small part of the whole image, stretching just a few pieces across. There's still a lot to enjoy in the rest of the puzzle though, with colourful awnings, light spilling from windows, and chairs to put together. And this was one of the rare cases where I did the full 1,000 pieces in a single day, which is a sign of me either loving the puzzle or having too much time on my hands. In this case, it was both. I'm giving it 4 out of 5. Now this is an interesting one. See the blue opal logo on the box? Well, you may not recognise it, but Blue Opal are one of the most popular brands of puzzle published in Australia, so it was quite a surprise to see their logo on a Ravensburger box, like discovering a collaboration between Coke and RC Cola. I've no idea what brought these strange bedfellows together, but I have to figure that Ravensburger wanted to publish puzzles featuring Australian artists, but Blue Opal held the rights. At least, that's my guess. It's certainly a Ravensburger product through and through, with no hint of Blue Opal DNA in the box, piece quality, or cut. This artwork is from the artist Esther Shohet, who paints on silk, having been inspired from her time living in Japan. You can see a few more of her works in this range on the back of the box, though whoops, they accidentally printed the same image twice. I quite like its subdued tones, and also how the undulating buildings in the background mean the windows don't line up in a grid, which adds a pleasing layer of challenge. The rippling effect from the silk also gives it quite a unique sky compared to the cloud-streaked gradients I'd typically be working with. I think Shohet has done the unthinkable and made a puzzle of boats on a marina that actually feels novel and distinct. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. This next one is called Beachfront Getaway, featuring a cozy living space with an inviting ocean backdrop framed by open patio doors. It really draws you into that holiday vibe, making you yearn for laying on that green couch, patting that cute Jack Russell with that salty sea air drifting in. Perfect spot to just unwind, relax, and maybe solve a puzzle just like this one. And this also works great as a puzzle image. The straight lines of the white patio doors and side curtains give a good frame to build off of. And while there's enough distinct colours and textures to make the puzzle pleasantly easy, there are patterns like the green upholstery that appear in several unconnected spots across the image, so it isn't a complete dawdle to do. The main disappointment with this one is that you can't step into the image, because I'm sure we could all do with a holiday like this. I'll give the puzzle a 4 out of 5. Lastly, but by no means leastly, we have Amazing Birds, an illustration by UK artist and bird enthusiast Matt Sewell. And this one marries two styles of puzzles that I find really appealing. With the larger birds, you get blocks of distinct colours to pull out and put together, such as the yellow of the toucan and the blue of the blue jay. And with the smaller birds, you also get touches of that busy puzzle experience as well. There's so much detail in the 87 different species here, It was very enjoyable to hunt for where each piece belonged. And the puzzle also includes a key image, so you can identify what species each bird is. But even with all this busyness, I still think it coheres well as a complete image, with the soft pink background tying it all together. It's the kind of puzzle image that makes you really wish Ravensburger included posters with their puzzles. Certainly the previous owner of this puzzle could have used one, having to take it upon themselves to print off zoomed-in images of the puzzle. Really, that's the only fault I can lay at the feet of Ravensburger on this one, that they focus on engineering a well-fitting puzzle but can overlook those little extra details like posters and make a product feel complete. But even so, with a beautiful image full of painstaking attention to detail that was an absolute joy to solve, I think I do have to give this one a full 5 out of 5. And that's it. 8,000 pieces down, taking me a combined 37 hours 46 minutes and costing a total of 42 Australian dollars, because I was all over the second-hand shops last year. Nothing more for me to add, but thank you for watching. Until next time, I hope you get a chance to clear out a backlog of your own. Take care.